Welcome aboard the Teak Rail. Today we're talking about pyrotechnics. Now you have a lot of options when it comes to pyrotechnics. You have the flare guns that shoot into the air. You have handheld flares. And you have smoke. There is also some electronic flares that we'll talk about in a different video. This is the Solus grade orange smoke. It's my favorite marine pyrotechnic device. I'm just going to talk a little bit about what I like, what I don't like, and give you a short demonstration how it works. So there are a lot of different types of smoke. The one you want to look for is the Solus smoke, spelled S-O-L-A-S. This means that it's approved for use aboard the largest ship. Now, Solus is the Safety of Life at Sea Convention. This is the body of laws that were developed by the International Maritime Organization after the sinking of the Titanic. Titanic sank. There were ships nearby. They weren't able to get the attention of the other ships, and we had a large disaster with the Titanic, and they came up with new regulations called the Solus regs that are revised every 5 years to make sure it has the newest and best equipment. And most of the flares that you go and you see on the rack, you go to West Marine, there's a whole rack of flares, they're Coast Guard approved, but they're not Solus approved. Solus is going to give you brighter flares that are used by professionals. It's a step higher than the Coast Guard regulations, and that's what we suggest. Now you can use aerial flares out of a gun, but those shoot way up in the air and they're good for letting people really far away from you know that you're in distress. But the aerial flares, they can go up in the clouds. That's one real problem with them. If it's an overcast day, there might be low visibility. The handheld flares are great. You just hold them, you light them, and you hold them over the boat, but they have this slag that drips down, and if you're on a life raft, you can poke a hole right in your life raft. This Solus flare is the absolute best. Now, the Coast Guard only approves this for daytime signaling. So technically, you are only allowed to use this for the daytime. So you're going to need one of those nighttime pyrotechnics, the rocket launch flare or the handheld flare, in order to meet the Coast Guard regulations. But even at nighttime, this is what I'm going to use first. Why? Because Mario Vitone, who is instructor at the Coast Guard Rescue Swimmer School, a guy who really knows his stuff, says all the Coast Guard helicopters in the United States and many overseas now have infrared cameras. And this smoke gets really, really hot. So this is going to show as a bright blip on the infrared camera of the people, of the Coast Guardmen on the helicopter. And it's really, they're going to be able to see you. This is what else I like about it, it's really steel canister. It's really strong stuff. It's not going to light off accidentally. And what I like best about this, there's some handheld smoke flares. This is better because this entire canister floats. So when you ignite it, you toss this thing right off of your boat. You want to make sure that you toss it off downwind so the smoke doesn't come across your face. But you toss it downwind and light it off. And you don't have to touch it. You don't get the smoke in your face. We tested some of the handheld smoke here aboard the Papagallo. And even holding it downwind of me, it's still too close. I started coughing. My eyes started getting irritating. This you can throw a good 6 feet away from you and you don't have to touch it. What I don't like about it, it only lasts 3 minutes, but that's fairly standard for most of these flares and pyrotechnic devices. So you're going to need to buy a few of them. Another thing I don't like these are significantly more expensive than the Coast Guard approved. And again, the Solus is Coast Guard approved. But this is Coast Guard and Solus approved, to step up. But it's going to be more expensive, but I think it's worth it. How it operates, you have a twist cap here. You can discard the cap. A seal, you can discard this. This just keeps the water from coming out of the device. And you have this pull cord. So you can you can grab a hold of this and give it a yank. And then you want to toss it overboard downwind right away because, again, this canister is going to get very hot. And this is going to ignite a very thick plume of orange smoke that's going to be visible for miles in the daytime and by the FLIR infrared cameras of helicopters day or night. This is my favorite, the Solus orange smoke.